Hello and welcome back to Surly Tim's. This would be an episode of Double Dollar Haul. After purchasing my standard monthly comics at the shop that I usually buy my new books from, a friend of mine pointed out a $2 box, and I found he had noticed that there were some of the old Del Gold Key Lost in Space issues. And I've been kind of putting a run together for quite a few years. I used to have more than I do now when I was younger. As some of you can attest to, your comic collection kind of changes over the course of time. You get rid of books, you pick up books. But with the Space Family Robinson Lost in Space, the old Del Gold Key books, when my friend pointed them out to me, I went over, I looked at them and went, trying to kind of watch my, keep within my budget, which I had done, even with bags and backboards that I had picked up. But the peer pressure got to me, of course, and I had to have them. But also going through the rest of the books, I found another pile or additional material. Got my first issue of Andy Panda. It was number 297. I believe it was from 1950, which I think puts it as my oldest book. A nice 10-cent cover. Not a bad condition book, especially for $2. I was kind of shocked that it was in as good a condition as it was. Beetle Bailey. I just picked up my first Beetle Bailey at a show a few months ago, and finding another one, I sidestepped an issue of Sad Sack because the spine was dinged pretty bad. But I usually collect Sad Sack. My uncle had got me hooked into it, and just by proxy got me hooked into Beetle Bailey. I used to have the little paperbacks. Actually, I think I still do. But I picked up number 16 of Beetle Bailey, and it's slightly, the pages are pretty much cream colored, so it's just a little bit of aging, and the cover's kind of dinged up and stuff. And that came out in 1958, February of 58 actually, so 10 years before I was born. Additional materials. I have been eyeballing some Dick Tracy comics from the old Harvey run when I went to shows, and I'm just not buying them, and I should have. I've been, like I said, the last several shows I've been to, I go digging through, I find the Dick Tracy books, and I'm like, well, no, I'll get them later, and putting things off, which I am notorious at doing. Finding was issue 120, which was a Mumbles issue, which I started reading the other day, actually. I love Chester Gould's work. When the movie came out in the 90s, I was a pretty big fan of that, but I had been a fan of the old Ralph Bird stuff back in I think it was the 40s, the movie serials. I had read quite a few of the Gould strips. Even the Max Allan Collins stuff, I've got some of that in trade form. But yeah, that was issue 120, but also issue 133. And these are both old 10-cent comics. Most of the stuff, well, about half the stuff that I picked up were 10-cent books. Also, The Green Hornet. My first issue of The Green Hornet, currently. I used to have not a run, but a handful of the books way, way back. Being a fan of the TV show, that was actually the thing that attracted me to the Batman television show with Adam West. There was the two-parter that had Van Williams and Bruce Lee in it. That was what actually got me hooked into the Batman TV show from the 60s. It was number 3 of the Green Hornet, which was the the Gold Key issues. Nice photo cover, as you'll see. Yeah, as a fan of the Green Hornet, I couldn't pass it up. It's not, like I say, it's not in the best of condition. Most of these books, they're not, but I mean, for the age, yeah, I'm not going to complain. And then to the issues that actually my friend had brought to my attention. Issue 23 from August of 1967. I thought the title was kind of humorous. Once you read it, you'll see. Issue number 27 from April of 1968. A little bit of a ding on the cover, spines. It's not a bad condition book, and I'm the kind of collector that's basically I just want to read the damn book. Now, I mean, there's some instances where I will turn a book away. So, also issue number 41 from October of 1974. This stuff, I had a couple of friends who had never even known that the Lost in Space books were a thing. I do know that Bill Mummy, he produced a book back in the 90s that was actually quite good. For the life of me, I can't remember the company that put it out right at the moment, but I had collected that for quite a while. It was a decent title, though. The last book that I had picked up was from November of 1956. Number 15 of Uncle Scrooge. Now, this was an upgrade. I had bought a copy for $2 as well. About 3 or 4 years ago, I had picked up at a show, and it was browned. The cover was kind of flaky. The interiors were brown. This as you'll see. There's a hunk taken out up with the Dell logo in the top left-hand corner, but the interior, it's cream colored. The cover's browning a little down at the bottom. But this is a vast improvement on my original. If I can find the original, I do scan all my books in when I get them. That way, once I get a database rolling, I can actually have I'll know what all my issues look like. I'll be able to bring them up if I need to on whatever device I have. But only then. I don't use a device usually. I use quite an extensive process for my inventory / want list. This basically being a checklist. It's quite large. But with my memory being as diminished as it has been over the last several years, I find it necessary to have an in-depth list when I go to shows or shops. But this one's run a little bit longer than I expected, so I'm going to go ahead and call this one an episode. Thanks so much for listening, and again, I'll talk to you guys later. Goodbye.